Hello, and welcome back to an episode of the USL Show. And we are here to talk about what was probably the most exciting Jägermeister Cup we have had to date. You get a red card from Oladapo in the 28th minute. And there goes Portland Hearts of Pine. Surely that's it. Down to 10 men against Bob Lilly's Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Au contraire, because in the second half, Ollie Wright, you are a special, special man. And Tyus Washington makes it a special goal and a special moment in Portland. The stadium's buzzing. Everybody's bebopping around. But Jackson equals it up just a few minutes later. And within seconds later, Tyus Washington plays the assist to Ollie Wright. It is 2-1. It is a party in Portland. But au contraire, because after a pin, Jackson equals it. And that's how it would stay until it came down to penalties. We end up getting a save for Portland. Langlois ends up getting the game winner. And we're going to be having some players coming up. I have heard that the man of the hour himself, Ollie Wright, might be joining us. And if he's ready for me to kind of just toss on over to him, we're going to go ahead, toss it to John Morrissey, who was live on the ground. First off, John, what was the atmosphere like?
Simply incredible. The three of us talking about what we saw, what we experienced today, it really is incomparable to what you see across the rest of the USL. Like, let's face it, on paper, this was a match that had no stakes. It would have been easy for the fans, the teams to slough this off. And the Hearts of Pine supporters, the Dirigo Union, were just locked in. And yeah, so obviously we're going to get to talk to the man of the hour here in a second, because we've got Ollie Wright coming in, who came in and dominated. And you can come on in and sit down, Ollie. So super excited to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And great game, obviously.
Good to see you in real life instead of
I know, right?
on Twitter.
Yeah, long time coming. So yeah, get you luck with this. So I mean, first off, what does it mean to come into a game like this, have an impact as a sub, and like do this for the supporters you see?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, obviously today we're out of the cup, so it was an opportunity for some of the guys that haven't necessarily had tons of minutes the past few weeks to get some game time, and I think everyone was unbelievable from first minute to 90th. But obviously myself today, knowing my role to come off the bench and give a bit of energy when we needed it, especially being down 10 men. But yeah, no, credit to the guys as well, because they pushed through. You saw Shandon Wright was
striker,
up.
yeah,
went up front, and yeah, everyone put the shift today, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, and talk about coming at a halftime. What is Coach Murphy telling you guys to keep you locked in?
Yeah, it's tough. It's not much tactical stuff because obviously, like I said, down to 10 men, it's more so a mentality thing. But he told us that there was a slight shape tweak that he gave us, but no, it was more so just, motivation and making sure that we're all willing to dive for each other out there. And I think we showed that in the second half.
And I think something that I've seen from afar, and certainly tonight, is your connection with Tyus Washington. How has that burgeoned as the season has come along?
Yeah, massively. Obviously, as you guys probably have noticed, Ardy's been out for the past few games, and Tyus has really stepped up massively. And I think it's a credit to us as a team outside of the field as well. We've got a super strong team in the locker room and outside the field. So I think that translates on the field as well. And yeah, like I said, me and Tyus have struck up a bit of a relationship the past few weeks. So the plan is just to keep that going.
You've been a lot of places across the USL, across Next Pro a little bit. What is it like to be in front of these supporters week in and week out?
Unbelievable. I've luckily been blessed with all the teams I've been at, San Antonio, RGV, and Huntsville, to have really strong supported teams. But I mean, the atmosphere is like nothing I played in front of before. It reminds me of like a League One in England team. It's unbelievable. The fans are there's a massive track between the fans and the field, but you wouldn't think it. It feels like they're right on top of you, and yeah, we get goosebumps every time we come out to play. And credit to them, because it's been a long time waiting for them to have a team in Portland, and now we're here, and hopefully we're doing them proud.
How have you enjoyed the Jägermeister Cup experience, having this tournament in addition to what you're seeing in League One?
It's been great. I think it's important for us as League One players to challenge ourselves and test ourselves against technically higher opposition, and I think we've held our own. Obviously, results haven't gone our way, and we're out of the cup technically, but I think we can take a lot of positives from it and use that momentum going into the league and hopefully cement ourselves in the playoff spots.
Sure. And going forward, is that the goal? Like, what do you see as the ceiling for this club?
I don't think there is a ceiling, honestly. I think we've got so much ability in the group, so much belief in ourselves and the manager. And I mean, League One is just one of those leagues where you win 2 or 3 on the bounce and all of a sudden you're in 2nd or 3rd place. And so for us, it's just about taking it one game at a time. We've got the mental health break now this weekend, so it'll be some good time for some of us to get away and recover mentally and physically. And then it's right back to work.
Any plans for the mental health break for you?
Not that I can say on camera. But no, yeah, like I said, it's nice for us to get away and take our minds off soccer a bit, you know.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll let you go, but thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Awesome to meet you in person.
And to you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Congrats, Ollie.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So Ollie right there joining the show, being terrific as always. One of the best guys in the league. So happy to have him here talking to us about his experience and what we saw tonight.
Holy moly. What a player. In terms of impact, there was an energy when he came on. Me and John were talking about it like during the game, just the fact that the crowd recognizing the impact that a guy like Ollie can have, and the fact that he's already made this sort of connection with the fans. You could, even from that, him saying that he gets goosebumps, even like taking the field here, that's such a special thing. And to then back that up by being instrumental in both goals, scoring the second, and really setting up the fact that they even had the chance to win on penalties. Then he scores the penalty too, cool as ice, and just what a player and what a signing for Portland. Like what a spot for Bobby Murphy, and just unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just the crowd reactions to all of that. I got video of like when he was coming on, and there was a recognition of the type of player that he was, and like how much he could change the game. And we saw that clearly within both goals that they scored from open play and in the shootout. Like it's just someone who like just rose the level of play for everyone on Portland.
And that point you made about the fan reaction, Phil and I were talking about this. There are a lot of markets in the USL that maybe aren't going to hear, okay, Masashi Wada is coming in, Ollie Wright is coming in, and roar like it's Lionel Messi. Portland fans who haven't even had 10 home dates so far were reacting like it was Superman coming to save the day when Ollie Wright entered the game. And he lived up to that expectation. He embodied what this team, what this city is trying to be about. He really did what Bobby Murphy needed tactically, because they struggled to connect in those transition moments early in this match. As soon as you get Wright in Washington in there, something flipped in this game. And Pittsburgh, despite Burton Jackson's best efforts, didn't have that response. So incredible stuff to see for him.
Down to 10, this is a really, really good
for 60
result.
Minutes. Yeah.
This is like entering best case scenario stuff for Portland in this particular game, because like we said, the result didn't matter that much in terms of the actual stakes. But it definitely did matter in terms of Portland's confidence. And I would be, if I'm a USL League One team now, I'm looking at my travels to Portland with I've got those games circled on the calendar, and I'm trying to prepare the guys for what they're going to go into. I've never seen a penalty shootout at a USL level that was that hostile.
Sure.
And also that, obviously supportive in terms of the Portland players. And just across any decision, any perceived foul, anything, like the crowd was on the ref's back, on the Pittsburgh players' back. Like, it is not an easy place to play, even for a championship side. And League One teams are going to come here, and I think there's going to be some shell shock moments for some of these clubs, because this is a crazy place to play football.
And I don't say this to disparage the atmosphere I saw in Phoenix, because I thought Banditos and everyone really brought it, but 2 months ago, I was seeing a penalty shootout in the Jägermeister Cup. This atmosphere, Ryan was saying, you could hear a pin drop before Portland players were kicking. My ears were stinging when it was time for Pittsburgh to try to take a try. Everything about it was just intense and locked in. It's a crowd that understands the game and is really erudite in their ability to comprehend and react. And it's just so impressive what we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, they held the penalty shootout at the supporters group in, and that really, I felt like, gave them that extra boost of like supporting the hell out of the team when they were defending in goal, and then with the silence and then the explosion in energy that they had after scoring was just phenomenal to see. And if we're looking at like their next two home games they have, it's Richmond and Spokane back to back, and like Ollie had said, 2-3 wins on the bounce. Like if they win their next two games, they're already up to third within the league.
Which is incredible. And I mean, Ollie was talking a bit about League One. It really is a toss up, and he thinks their ceiling is limitless in League One. He's absolutely right. And if Portland plays at their best, which I think we saw flashes of today, certainly, like the potential for this team to be a counterattacking juggernaut, there's no telling what they can do. Like Spokane, that's attainable. Charlotte, Chattanooga, teams that are above them, you can envision a world where Portland is making noise if the formula that they are laying down and building in the Jägermeister Cup can be a consistent reality.
The other thing that they have going for them is, as much as I think it was maybe a detriment at the beginning of the season, they are going to have a very like friendly schedule in terms of a lot of home games in the back half of the season, which I think is going to serve them extremely well. Where it was tough for them coming out of the gates to not play in front of this crowd very much. Like I was, kind of had this like light bulb moment talking to Bobby Murphy yesterday when he's like, we've only played 6 home games the whole season. And that's crazy when we're in July, like they have only had 6 home games. So yeah, the fact that they've got now a very favorable lot of home games like down the stretch, I do think that they can do some damage. And this is going to be a really tough place to play, particularly for a team like Spokane, which Portland has already made that trip to Spokane. And I heard about the grueling nature of that. So the reverse trip, I can't imagine, is very fun in terms of having to fly to Seattle just to fly to Boston, just to drive to Portland, and then have to face these fans. I don't envy anyone that. And I do think like they are in a really strong position, despite being, just outside of the playoff places right now.
And you're facing these fans, you're facing a team that knows how to run, that is going to force you to get tired quickly. Pittsburgh isn't a team that typically likes an open game of soccer, and Portland, despite being shorthanded, was able to dictate the tempo at which the match was played. They were able to tire the Riverhounds out. Frankly, whenever Pittsburgh had a chance, it felt like it was against the run of play because Hearts of Pine had that level of dominance and understanding. Hey, here's how we can find a hole in what Pittsburgh has done in terms of their defensive setup. What we were seeing with the Etu and Bradley Sample manipulation on that left side. I just thought it was so thoughtful. And that Ollie Wright, the assist on that first goal, we were talking about the vision behind that play, where it seems like Danny Griffin has recovered and stopped Ollie Wright. He understands how to shift his momentum. He knows implicitly that Titus Washington is making that run up the right side into open space. A lot of teams don't have that chemistry. Like Portland, it's hard to get here. The atmosphere is incredible. They really fatigue you, and they have that level of offensive connectivity. You can see all of the checklist going down. Like it just makes sense with the Portland project for the rest of 2025.
And looking ahead at some of their other games, they have that friendly against the Halifax Wanderers next, which will be a really interesting fixture to see the USL versus Canadian Premier League as well. Nicholas Murray said this is the first time since 2019 that a USL club is playing a Canadian Premier League team. And just knowing that Halifax is so nearby with Portland and just having this atmosphere as well, it's going to be a really fun showcase for both leagues.
And friend of the show, Sean Fechtel here from Diego Union saying playoff match at Fitzpatrick Stadium would be seismic for the USL. 100%.
Yeah.
This atmosphere is special. The USL should be doing everything they can to get it out there and use it as an impetus for other teams to raise the level to this.
Yeah.
Now, it's easy to say that in principle because it has taken special people in a special community to get Hearts of Pine to where they are, but this should be the measuring stick.
Yeah. Get this on national television as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand. Like even me as a primarily championship watcher,
Sure.
Didn't understand the level of Portland until now. Like I didn't really grasp what they had going on. And it's just super impressive. And it's not just like some vanity project of like, oh, it's cool now and it's shiny and all that stuff, and then it'll vanish like, you know, in a year or two or something, and it just won't be anything. Like the connection here is very authentic. The fact that they have just like built this so quickly. I don't know. It is really impressive what they've done. And it's backed up by stuff like this, where they obviously have the fight. They have like the ability to play against down a man for a long time against Pittsburgh. They hung in there against championship caliber side. And I think in general, what Ali was talking about in terms of the mentality and the fact that them measuring themselves against championship players just felt important. And I do think that maybe adds a little bit of fear factor now to Portland in terms of like they hung with them in pretty
when they beat Detroit in that prior matchup.
Detroit. Like I just think there is a little bit of a fear factor now about Portland, where they've shown they can hang in there, and they've most importantly like shown themselves that they can, which I think is like that is kind of the most important thing, is they now believe that they can get at anybody. And yeah, with the way their schedule's set up, I just think they're in really good shape. The mad minutes of this match, like, should we just talk about like what happened?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
The fact the match like essentially came to life over what, like 4 minutes or whatever.
Essentially.
Where I think the second, third, and fourth goal were scored in 3 minutes and 45 seconds of game time, which is insane.
Yeah.
And obviously Ali Wright, like the catalyst on the first goal. But you said like that partnership with Washington was so instrumental.
Yeah.
And then it pops up again just a couple of minutes later with the 1-2, essentially, of he finds Washington out wide in that same sort of space as Washington scored the first goal from, but then he lays it back off to Ali, and I mean, what a finish as well.
Right.
But the fact that was sort of bubbling under the surface for Portland, and it really just took like, hey, Ali's on now, and now it can happen.
Right.
Where, like he said, I think it was very solid from the guys prior, but they just were missing that sharp like edge at the top.
And I think that's the thing with Portland in a lot of ways, right? They have had these games where Bobby Murphy, because of the context, just decides, I'm going to rotate the team a little bit. I'm going to get someone like a Natty James up top. I'm going to put Varela on the wing. There's some lacking chemistry, which makes sense for role players on an expansion team. So the fact that you can look to Wright, look to Titus Washington, they're setting a pattern and then building off of it. We talked about that first goal. You greatly explained that cutback on the second. They had trained Pittsburgh to think, okay, Washington is going to go at goal from that position. The fact that Washington is unselfish enough to recognize, I've seeded this, now there's going to be an opening. That's next level thinking. That's a maturity to what this team is trying to become that makes it all the more impressive.
John, can you hear me?
The Pittsburgh side of this, obviously, like there is fight back because they go down a goal, they immediately equalize essentially, and then they earn the penalty and dispatch it, which leads to the game ending 2-2. But there was maybe an air of like disconnection, I guess, with Pittsburgh. They also were not at their sharpest. Jackson kind of struggled to get on the ball early. We were talking in the first half that he didn't really see much of the ball.
Right.
And it was contributing to just an overall sort of like mehness from their whole game plan and approach. And in the end, like they do draw with like a pretty heavily rotated squad where they were even rotating sort of further as the game went on. Is Pittsburgh getting too wrapped around the axle about this?
I come at Pittsburgh with a little bit of inbred negativity. Like they're just these games where you feel like you wish Pittsburgh would put the pedal to the metal. And Bob Lilly clearly wasn't about to do that on this night. Like the fact that Augie Williams goes as an unused sub and doesn't even come on for the shootout, I think that tells you a lot about what Pittsburgh thought here. And it was a good day for him to get some experience to some of those college kids who maybe haven't got the championship minutes. I thought Max Broughton, despite the concessions, had a very good night. And it's no coincidence that they mainly come the opposite side from the one he was defending. I thought Charles All continued to rise. Like, I'm putting all my stock into him. The way he manipulates that half space, bought room for Junior with his movement. There is the germ of, if not a Robbie Mertz proper, like somebody of that caliber possibly in him. So Pittsburgh has useful takeaways. And Ryan, I think, was timing the post-game huddle. Famously, Bob Lilly loves to keep the players around. It was, 11 minutes?
Yeah, it was 11 minutes. And if you look at like the post-game stats for this one, people would like post a screenshot onto r/football manager and say that Pittsburgh got FM'd today because it was 72% possession. They outshot Portland 18-5. But what really impressed me from Portland was their efficiency. Those 5 shots, 4 of them were on target.
See, and that really is the difference maker. Like the fact that Pittsburgh had 18 shots is shocking for me to hear.
Yeah.
The amount of danger associated with those shots, pretty minimal.
Yeah, and I think it probably, I mean, I haven't seen the final XG or anything like that, but I would say it probably bears out in the XG where Pittsburgh probably have maybe a slight edge just in terms of volume, but the 2 chances that Portland score are genuine, like, good chances. So I would imagine they're a little bit like higher quality in terms of, if you want to look at it from an X threat or whatever. Yeah. But there was in terms of where Pittsburgh operated, they were marginalized in a lot of these attacks. And even though there was sort of like these half chances that they formed, they weren't able to really carve out the gilt edge chances. And I would say too, in the first half, Portland, the couple of moments where they needed a goal line clearance or needed a save and just got it, they did exactly, they did as much as was needed to make it, like, to weather that storm. And then Pittsburgh's threat after those sort of moments earlier on just didn't feel as big as what Portland had to offer, especially once the game changers came on.
I was gonna say, and even if you subtract out the penalty, Pittsburgh just didn't feel as dangerous. Frankly, 1.9, again, subtracting the penalty, is a lot of expected goals for Pittsburgh, but spread across 17 shots from open play. That is a signifier of low quality chances. A lot coming in traffic, a lot coming off of crosses. There was a moment where I was comparing Burton Jackson to a baby deer learning how to walk in the box. It's like a switch can flip with him. There are moments where he is utterly lethal. You feel like he can do anything in the box. And in games like this, where he is the number 9, it is just a bit too inconsistent. And I know he gets 2 goals, but he could have put this match away at times. And you also think maybe Augie as the primary striker with Jackson coming off his right side would have been a better balance. That maybe wasn't the approach for Lilly in this game. So Pittsburgh got what they wanted. 90 minutes of run out for some players. Pablo Luenzoen comes in at the end of the game, and I thought did quite well to space on the right side and find his crosses against a very strong defender in Nathan Messer. So Pittsburgh isn't upset with this result. This to me speaks to, sorry for the pun, Portland's heart more than anything else.
Yeah.
Hey, John, I have a question for you guys.
I think in general, Pittsburgh won't be too disappointed, but I do think that these matches, like we're talking about with Portland carrying this momentum into the league, similarly, like there will have to still be a little bit of work on making sure that Pittsburgh don't carry any sort of like ill feeling from this game into what has been improved like league form for them.
And it's a bit of an inflection point on the Pittsburgh side where they have that draw against Loudoun that by all accounts should have been a win, and they give up that last-ditch goal to Ben Mines. Very flat draw against Detroit. At some point, you are playing yourself into a rut, and I just worry about that with Pittsburgh, a team that really relies on this summer burst of form to solidify the playoff place. We've got a question from Taylor here, so I will earbud myself and get that in.
Yeah. So first off, you mentioned goal line clearances. I counted 3 true goal line clearances for Portland. So that's 3 goals that could have been there. But we saw Portland heavily rotate versus Rhode Island. And obviously it's 4-1, but if they fully go for it and maybe even get a draw from that, Portland's sitting in a wild card contention. Do you think they regret that a little bit after tonight's result?
It's a tough question. And obviously that Rhode Island game for Portland came with like a little bit of a Northeastern rivalry to it as well, which I think maybe would have incentivized a better team. But Portland has played a pretty tough schedule to date, a lot of away games. The fact that they rotated against Rhode Island and probably doomed their chances of advancement in the Jägermeister Cup, I think you just accept that loss. I think this team is prioritizing the league. They knew from the jump, and given how concentrated early in the season this group stage was going to be, that maybe the Jägermeister Cup just wasn't in the cards for them. And especially in a group with a ton of championship teams that are just pure grinders. So yeah, is there some what if thinking of if we beat Rhode Island, where would we be now? Probably in the back of their heads, but I think they're comfortable with the mission of where this season is going.
And I have another question for Phil, actually.
Sure, I'll relay it to him.
Yeah, thanks. So John, you mentioned the Bandidos and Phoenix. One of the best atmospheres we have in the USL is Detroit City. Phil has seen Detroit City at Keyworth. How does this compare?
Yeah, so basically, Kaylor is wondering for you, Phil, how does this atmosphere compare to Keyworth?
Ooh, a good question. And Kaylor, you were trying to get me in trouble on the internet. Here's the thing. I would say Northern Guard, in terms of intensity, is always among the best. And it would be hard for me to split hairs and say, like, Portland Hearts of Pine supporters group versus Northern Guard. Like, I don't think it's necessarily fair because they both like bring the heat. In terms of total stadium engagement, this is different. Like, this is above Keyworth in terms of like the amount that people are fully locked in across. Now, I will say Detroit, people are absolutely locked in and they are paying attention. But in terms of like noise and like participation in sort of like whole stadium stuff, like there's just a little bit more going on here, I would say. And I probably would just give Hearts the edge. But that being said, like, I don't want to take anything away from Keyworth because that is absolutely a must visit for any USL fan as well.
Ryan, you've been around the block a little bit, at least, with the American game. Is this comparable to anything you've seen domestically, or is this just the best by a mile?
Yeah, I mean, just being in and around USL for so long, this feels like it truly is a team that has, quote unquote, raised their game and raised the game of the rest of the league. Like, to have the main song they had pre-match was really cool. The Viking clap that they did as well. Like, I haven't seen that like basically replicated across the USL, and just the intensity, how close you felt, even with the running track here. Or like Ali had said, it felt like the fans are right on top of the pitch here. That this is well worth the trip for anyone coming up to Maine, coming to Portland to see a match here.
And real quick on the Ollie Wright point and just what he is bringing to the table here. Immediately after he scores that goal, he is coming, looking at the crowd, not even the supporter side, just like the more general press box side of the field, swinging his arms up, trying to get them amped because he knows he has that connection. As soon as he gets the penalty, he is the first guy running over to greet those supporters. I think you can go back and forth as to whether a club needs that talismanic figure who can do anything. But Ollie Wright, somebody who leads the team with goals and assists in the league, is doing what he's doing personality-wise. There's something to him as the guy for Portland.
There's a little bit of like folklore building that occurs, because these are the sorts of stories that people tell about clubs when they're in their sort of infancy. These stories and these moments are really important, and I think the Ollie Wright hat trick is something that like we even heard about, or like during the hat trick game, like you wouldn't imagine, like, you know, whatever. And it's like everybody knows exactly what you're referring to, like what that fan is talking about and all of that stuff. I just think that adds, like, building the history of the club
For sure.
just like through actual on pitch moments adds to sort of the, you know, community aspect and the mystique. And so, yeah, I think these moments with Ollie and everything, like, it's just a known, I don't know. It's, he is now part of the fabric of the club, and he's someone that they will talk about for a long time here.
Yeah, like especially with a match like this today, you're going to hear people talk about this 5-10 years of I was there when that happened. And that is just so important for building clubs, especially in the first season, to say that I was in the crowd, I was in the supporter section when they won the penalties against Pittsburgh. Like, I could definitely see this match being ranked among a fans' like favorite moments of the season, depending on how the rest of the year goes.
For sure. I mean, I remember 2014, I'm getting into Indy 11, and it's like Kleberson scoring a half volley against the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just locked into my brain as something I will always remember.
Yeah.
For somebody, that moment is going to be Ollie Wright scoring from the edge of the box, doing his thing, and him running over and greeting the supporters.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sport of moments and things that you just lock into that mean something. And I think Portland has done an unbelievable job to maximize the ability to make those things happen.
Yeah. And I said it on Blue Sky or whatever, but it's like, tell those fans that it was a dead rubber. You'd have never known it. Like, that was insane. What a fun, like, thing to be a part of. And I would just, you know, we're super lucky, obviously, to even have been like pitch side for that. That was crazy. Yeah, something that I'll obviously like remember as well. And just a very cool thing to be a part of. I think the fact that we have this sort of thing, like, to put players like that on a pedestal, and like, that is sort of when people, you know, I know League One is like, can sometimes be a meme and all of that sort of stuff.
Right.
I do think that this is, like we spoke to Kevin about earlier, part of setting the bar higher for teams who are trying to get into the league and making sure that they have the right sort of stuff to go do it. And I think in particular, like, seeing this in person, USL should be collecting as much sort of like data about this as possible, and just like who to talk to about, like, when these ownership groups like approach about expansion, like understanding like their motivation and just like how much they care about the actual, you know, call it a city, call it a market, call it, you know, whatever in the business world, like understanding like the goal is so important. And now I think Portland have kind of laid out a blueprint of, hey, if you start with a goal in mind of rewarding a community that deserves a club, and like coming at it from that sort of like point of humility, leads to then, you know, years down the road, after tons of work and everything, moments like this where everybody as a club just gets to celebrate and enjoy what is a, you know, a fantastic night for the club that sets them on a good path in the league. And yeah, just very pleased to have been here to witness it.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't have put it better. Ryan? Taylor, any more questions for us?
Yeah. Not goals scored or penalties saved. What was your favorite part of the match?
That is a great question. I think my favorite part of the match, other than the goals, the penalties, honestly, was just getting to see this Portland team's reaction over the course of the game, watching them come together, fight for this win. We got the comment from Sean about what they did with Shandon Wright, who he essentially comes up gimpy, and they decide, I mean, we can't sub him out. We have to put him at striker. Like, their starting center back is now gimpy playing as the number 9. They're already down a man. The fact that they are bringing that much spirit as a collective unit was amazing to see in person, like just having that happen.
Favorite part, I would say, I mean, aside from just like being in amongst everything for the goals, like I would say I was at field level, and I literally, like, me and Ryan were standing on the one side of the field, and I was like maybe 5 minutes before the Washington goal, the opener, I was like, I'm gonna go to the supporters section side and just hope that I'm lucky and a goal goes in, like, while I'm down there. And sure enough, it was. So that video's on Blue Sky, and I think now USL maybe show social, whatever, but I can share it around. But that was, I think, just like the wall of sound and just the like smoke, and just like that outpouring of joy that you love, like that we all are connected to this game with, right? Like that feeling of a goal being scored is why people love this game. And yeah, so just being in amongst sort of the zoo at that point was definitely my favorite part.
Yeah, to you, Ryan.
Yeah, and like I had gotten live video of the build up in that goal, and then just seeing the crowd reactions for it was phenomenal. And like when we were watching the penalty shootout, we had like the event staff team were sitting before us underneath the ad boards to show like how much people have bought in. When I was buying my Hearts of Pine merchandise, I saw the people who were standing on the other side of the fence peeking in through the opening in the fence just to watch this match, and just seeing like how much the community has come together around this club and all the reactions that we had to all the goals, the victory at the end. It was just a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, and I think I can speak for all of us in saying is I think we're kind of wrapping up here. The assistance we got from Portland Hearts of Pine, everybody at the club, from Kevin, Patty, everybody on the social and communications team has been remarkable. The welcome we've got from the city and the enjoyment we had coming together as a group. Obviously, anyone who is a patron, anybody who bought one of those kits that we put out to help fundraise for that, which we are showing off here, immensely thankful for the opportunity to do this. We're just a bunch of guys who get together on Tuesday nights and talk about lower league soccer. So having this sense of community, having people come up to us and be like, hey, you're from the USL Show, it's an amazing experience. And it wouldn't be possible without Hearts of Pine and without everybody who is watching now. And Kaylor at home specifically, deserving love for an immense amount of work with the details, with the organization. We're telling him next year we're doing this in Birmingham, so he will be there. But yeah, just unbelievable. Thank you to everybody for helping this happen. Yeah, Hart.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, and I think that about wraps it up. So thank you to everybody who watched this, the post-game, or rather the pre-game show, any of the content we're putting out on social media. We will have the interview with Kevin Scholl, the president of the club, coming to a podcast player or YouTube feed near you. So be on the lookout for that, because I thought he was incredibly insightful. Yeah. And we'll see you Tuesday night otherwise. So for one last time, I think we might get Alan's voice.
Thank you for watching another episode of the USL Show. The USL Show is now proudly part of the Protagonist podcast family. Please go to protagonistsoccer.com to check out more work. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see everyone again next time.